Good afternoon. The Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will retire to the gallery. The senators and all in attendance, please stand and be led in prayer. We'll be led in prayer by Mr. Satish Kaur, the narrator. Mr. G. Madhusudan will be our translator. They are both from the Indian American Forum of Virginia of Alexandria. Following the prayer, everyone will please remain standing and be led in prayer be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America by our Senate page Ella Goodove of Virginia Beach.
Good morning. I'm going to lead a prayer, old Sanskrit, when there weren't too many denominations on the earth, so you can consider it as non-denominational. You will hear two words repeatedly. The first word is Om, which is supposed to be the first sound at the creation of the universe. And the second one you will hear is Shanti, Shanti, which really means peace. So we are here to bring the message of peace. With that, I'm going to start, and my friend Madhusudan will translate for your benefit. Om Bhur-Bhuvasvaha Tat Savitur-Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat.
Om, I bow down to the Creator of life, that supreme radiance which illumines all the regions of the universe. May that radiance destroy the darkness and impurities of my intellect, letting it shine. May it inspire and guide our intellects to do good for all.
Om Dhyoho Shanti Antarikshigam Shantihi Pruthivi Shanti Apaha Shanti Roshadhaya Shantihi Vanaspatayaha Shantir Vishve Devaha Shantir Brahma Shantihi Sarvam Shanti Shantir Eva Shantihi Sama Shanti Hridhi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om, let peace pervade all. Let there be peace in the sky and in the outer space. Let there be peace on the entire earth, imbuing its waters, herbs, and the vegetation. Let the gods presiding over the elements be at peace. May peace pervade the supreme ultimate. May all of us rest in that peace as it permeates both the outer and inner layers of our existence.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, mam kaschit dukhbhag bhavet.
May all be happy. May all be free of diseases. May all perceive nothing but auspicious. Let no one suffer misery.
Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrutyor mam amrutam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. Make me overcome darkness and travel towards light. Help me transcend mortality and achieve immortality.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavirya Karva Vahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Mam Vidisha Vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om, may God protect us. May He nourish us together. May we work together with great energy. May what we learn shine forth with clarity. May our studies be enlightening, effective, and beneficial to all. May there be no animosity among us. Om, peace, peace, peace.
May the Almighty give us the wisdom and strength to do good for the Commonwealth. Om Shanti Shanti.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present, please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Tuesday, February 15, 2022.
The senator from Northern Fairfax County, Senator Howell, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 4.
Ayes 35, noes 4. The reading of the journal is waived. Chair now calls on the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move that we waive the reading of the communications from the House of Delegates.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication be waived? All in favor of waiving the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, noes 5.
Ayes 34, noes 5. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the governor.
We do not have any, Madam President.
Now comes a time in the morning hour, our favorite time, when we hear about all our wonderful guests in the gallery. This is your Senate. We welcome you to it, and we're glad that you're here. What will happen is your name will be called. You will please rise at that time, and then we will hold our applause until later. And so, with that, I recognize the gentleman from Western Fairfax County, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Our prayer today was offered by Satish Korpe, representing the Indian American Forum for Political Education. Satish has grown his engineering and construction management firm into a successful business. His company has been creating jobs and developing large infrastructure construction projects such as highways, bridges, and treatment plants. Satish was appointed to the Safety and Health Codes Board of Virginia by Governor Mark Warner, and he participated in an international trade delegation during Governor Tim Kaine's administration. Satish is also a powerful advocate for those in need of resources and justice, including students, immigrants, and victims of crime. Madam President, joining him today is his translator, G.D. Madhu Hussain, Manju Ganarawala, Vijay Agarwal, Babu Vinayagam, and Shiolwati Korpe. And I ask that you extend the warm welcome of the Senate to Satish Korpe and members of the Indian American Forum for Political Education. Thank you.
Good morning to you again, and thank you for coming. As you know, we've already spoken. This is your government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we thank you for being the people. Thank you for the businesses that you've opened, the jobs that you've created, the contributions that you're making to the betterment of our Commonwealth. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of the Senate. And now the chair recognizes the junior senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Madam President, I rise for purposes of an introduction.
Senator Chase. Oh. From Chesterfield. I'm sorry.
Looking this way.
Oh.
You can go if you want to. Thank you, Madam President. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
In the gallery today, we have a lot of wonderful, amazing guests from the VFRW, but today I would like to particularly call out a special individual who worked on my campaign, and that would be Shirley Green. And Shirley Green is from Fredericksburg. She was my Fredericksburg coordinator, and she is just full of life and energy and super bubbly. And she and her husband are involved in a very strong ministry there in the Fredericksburg area. And Madam President, I would just ask you to extend to her the very special and warm welcome of the Senate today. Thank you.
Good morning to you, Ms. Green. Thank you for your contributions to the electoral process. Thank you again for being part of what makes us better people. And with that, senators, let us welcome her with the warm welcome of the Senate. The chair now recognizes the senior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeStaff.
Good afternoon, Madam President. I was making sure the junior senator from Virginia Beach didn't pop up again before I did, but just checking. I was going to sit down and just pass the title over if she really wanted it. But that's all good.
Good afternoon.
Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator may continue.
Madam President, I'd like to introduce our guest today, Dr. Dominic Ranscona, his wife Carol, and daughter Kiera. Dr. Ranscona is a Naval Academy graduate, earned his medical degree from Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. He completed his internship at the Naval Hospital in Oakland, California, and his residency at Letterman Army Center in San Francisco. He completed a fellowship at Naval Medical Center in San Diego and University of San Diego. He's a board-certified in critical care medicine and internal medicine and is a critical care medicine specialist affiliated with Bon Secours Medical Center in Norfolk. Dr. Ranscona has over 38 years of experience in the medical field. His lovely wife, Miss Carolyn Ranscona, is an Army veteran, a geriatric nurse practitioner, providing home health services in their community. She's also a very active member of their church, the Blessed Sacrament Catholic Church of Norfolk. And Madam President, I'm telling you, Army-Navy games in their house must be a lot of fun. They have two beautiful daughters, Keely and Kiera. Kiera is a senior at VCU, expecting to graduate in May with her Bachelor's of Science in Broadcast Journalism and Political Science. Kiera is also completing an internship with my office this session, and she's doing an absolutely incredible job. I'm tremendously grateful for her time working with my team. Madam President, with that, I'd like to give them the warmest welcome of the Senate. Thank you.
Good morning to you. You've got so many accomplishments, the three of you, and thank you for your service to our country. And thank you for your broadcast journalism degree, one of the things that we certainly need in a democracy, constitutional republic like ours anyway, is a free press. And so we look forward to your contributions. So with that, Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Good morning, Madam President.
Morning.
I would like the Journal to reflect a leave of absence for my seatmate today, the senator from Rockingham, who is away from the Capitol on pressing personal business. Thank you.
The Journal will so reflect. Thank you. And now the chair recognizes the junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Kiggins. Senator Kiggins.
I apologize, Madam Chair. I am so excited. I've been so excited from the very beginning to make an introduction today.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Today, it is my honor to introduce the Association of Christian Schools International. We have a group from Virginia, all across Virginia. They're visiting the Capitol today to celebrate their calling and mission and their contribution to the common good of all Virginians. The schools are members of the Association of Christian Schools International, the world's largest Protestant school association. These school leaders, parents, and students are visiting their elected officials to discuss parental choice, which gives families access to the wide diversity of education options. And I would respectfully request that we give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Good morning to you. As we know, the parents are their children's first teachers, and so we thank you for that. We thank you for helping to raise good citizens of our Commonwealth and of our country. And so with that, Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. The gentleman from Mackinac, Senator Lewis.
Madam President, rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, members of the Senate, we have with us in the gallery today three leaders from the Eastern Shore Rural Health System. They're Matt Clay, CEO, Jeff Holland, Board Chair, and also Dr. Betty Bivens, Vice Chair of the Board. Eastern Shore Rural Health System is a federally qualified health center with 5 locations on the shore. Eastern Shore Rural Health not only serves the Eastern Shore's medical safety net, but also is its largest primary care provider on the shore, including myself and my son. They're here today to discuss their work with the community health centers and also the importance of the federal 340B program, which is an important funding stream which allows for discounted drug prices for their patients. I hope it will be the pleasure of the Senate to give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you for coming to your Senate. I know that throughout all of last year, as we were traveling throughout Virginia, we heard so much about the problems in the rural health care system and how we need to make sure that there are enough resources for all of our citizens to beef you up. And so we're making sure that we do that. Thank you very much for taking care of our citizens. And Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. The gentleman from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Good morning, Madam President.
Good afternoon.
Okay, it's afternoon, but it's called the morning hour, so that's why I say good morning. I rise for the purposes of an introduction not related to Senator Kiggins.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. In the gallery today, we have some very special guests that have come from my district, from the great city of Danville. We have young Weston Hash, who is there with his mother, Kim. Young Weston and I met at a political rally earlier last year, and he has an extreme interest in politics. He's currently a 5th grader in the Twin Springs Elementary School in Danville, Virginia. The mascot there is the Dolphins, which certainly is a better name than the Commanders. And so yes, it is. You know it is. He has this, as I said, a very big interest in politics, so he's up here learning about our government today. He's going to take a tour of the Capitol later. And, Madam President, because he has an interest in maybe being an elected official someday, I tried as hard as I could to try and exact a promise from him that he would not primary me, and that young man, that rascal, would not make such a promise. You have a lot of support down here, son, it looks like. So if if you would extend, Madam President, to both Kim and Weston Hash the warmest welcome of the Senate, I would certainly appreciate it.
Good morning to the both of you. Young man, I can see you're about business. You've got your jacket and tie on. And I'm sure your shoes are polished as well. Maybe not spit shine, that would be Marine Corps. But thank you for coming to watch us and to see how you will be one day, that you will be an excellent addition to the Senate. Senators, let us give him the warm welcome of his Senate. The chair now recognizes the senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Good afternoon, Madam President. I rise for purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I want to globalize a little bit on the introduction that initially was offered by the junior senator from Chesterfield. Those of us who have the privilege of serving in public service, which I use as a description as opposed to politics, but those of us that have the privilege of serving in public service are always excited when we find a group of individuals that are very engaged and active in civic commitment. In the gallery this morning, we have a group of ladies from all across Virginia who are very involved in civic engagement, and they are a group of ladies from the Virginia Federation of Republican Women. Not only are they our cheerleaders, but they are energetic and tireless workers when we are engaged in campaigns, and I would appreciate it if you would extend a very warm welcome and appreciation to these ladies from across the Commonwealth of Virginia from the Virginia Federation of Republican Women.
Good morning, ladies. Seems to be an echo in here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to see your Senate. Your Senate. Senate, as you know, as we've already said, belongs to you. And we hope that you go and see, as the senators will say, the lesser body. Thank you again for coming. Thank you for being part of the electoral process. Thank you for being concerned citizens. And senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. The chair now recognizes the junior senator from Richmond City, Senator Morrissey.
Thank you, Madam President, and good afternoon. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, joining us in the Senate gallery are four very special guests. They are all associated with the Patrick Henry School of Science and Arts. The four people, if they'll stand, include the principal of Patrick Henry School of Science and Arts, Fatima Smith, Ann Alyssa Hill, who is a board co-chair, Antoine Green, one of the co-founders and board members, and a parent, Tamia Farina. Let me tell you a little bit about this school, Madam President. The Patrick Henry School of Science and Arts is an elementary school, and it's the first chartered elementary school in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And it's located right here in Richmond. And it's the fourth overall charter school in the Commonwealth. The school will celebrate its 12th anniversary this August. And it started in 2007 when a group of parents from the Woodland Heights neighborhood of Richmond formed the Richmond Partnership of Neighborhoods. And that led to the chartering of the Patrick Henry School of Science and Arts by the Richmond School Board a year later. They moved into their current location in 2012, and I remember it because on 2 or 3 consecutive weekends, I was over there painting and cleaning the school to get it ready. They currently enroll 312 students. In addition to the normal subjects of language arts, mathematics, and science, they have an environmental learning program where each class has their own garden where they produce vegetables. That's been going on for almost a dozen years. Wonderful accomplishments. They have a 16-to-1 student-teacher ratio. They are very diverse, with 45% of its population African American, 45% white, 8% has a Latino population, and their scores and the SOL scores are at the highest rankings in Richmond. With all of that said, Madam President, I'd ask that the body give a warm Virginia State Senate to the first elementary charter school in Virginia, the Patrick Henry School of Science and Arts.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. We know that in business, once a business reaches 5 years, then we know that they're a going concern and they're going to make it, and you've more than passed that. But this is even better than business. This is about our future, and the children are our future. And we thank you for caring to start this school. And senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. The chair now recognizes Senator Peterson, the gentleman from Fairfax City.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a request and then followed by an announcement.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. I request unanimous consent to introduce a joint resolution relating to the migration of the Scots-Irish community to Western Virginia.
The question is, shall the Senate grant consent to introduce a joint resolution relating to the Scot-Irish migration? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The consent of the Senate is granted to the senator to introduce his joint resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. And if I might make my announcement next.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I neglected to update you yesterday, so I will today. We did have basketball practice last night, and the House has a number of new members on both sides of the aisle that are going to be effective players. So it's really important that we put our best foot forward. I will say that we had all of our existing members, plus we added a new member who I will not name by name except to say that on the playgrounds of the city of Lynchburg, he is known as the White Shadow. And so so if you still want to join the team, please join us. I will also be requesting that each member donate $250 to the Massey Cancer Center. You can drop off the check at my office, which is room 517. That's $250. We no longer have the McWaters exception where McWaters will write the check to cover everybody. So please get me that check in the next few weeks. Next week. Thank you.
Is there any other business for the morning hour?
Yes. Madam President.
The gentleman from Lynchburg.
Yes, I rise for the purposes of a statement and an announcement.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. And I would just take this opportunity to apologize to the senator from Alexandria for my hollering about his amendment. And I got a little worked up. That happens occasionally. So I wanted to make that statement. And for my use of intemperate language, apologize to the members of the body and the clerk. I thought I might get censured by Madam Clerk, but let me show you what I got instead. Madam Clerk gets a little irritated with my feet on the desk. And this appeared this morning. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
We are taking orders.
If there is no other business, the clerk will now call the calendar.
Today's calendar for Senate calendar for Wednesday, February 16, 2022. Uncontested calendar, House bills on second reading.
Chair recognizes the gentleman, the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move that all House bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar, that's pages 1 through 5, HB 3 through HB 971, that the rules be suspended and the second constitutional reading be dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the second reading of the titles of House bills on the uncontested calendar, pages 1 through 5, House Bill 3 through 971, be dispensed with? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Chair again recognizes the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I now move that those bills go by for the day.
The question is, shall the House bills on the uncontested calendar, now on third reading, go by for the day? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will now go by for the day. The senior senator again from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I inquire of the clerk, does that complete the massive calendar for today?
Yes, sir.
That is indeed awesome.
The chair now recognizes the senator from Northern Chesapeake, Senator Spruill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Point of personal privilege.
The gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, we know this month is Black History Month. Today, Madam Chair, I'm going to talk about Irene Morgan, who was born April the 9th, 1972 in Baltimore, Maryland, to Robert and Ethel Amos, both formerly enslaved. She was the sixth of 9 children. At the teenager during the Great Depression, Irene was forced to drop out of high school to work odd jobs to help her family survive. She later worked on the production line at the Glenn L. Martin Aircraft Company in Baltimore, where she met and married Sherwood Morgan. They later had 2 children. In the summer of 1944, Irene was recovering from a miscarriage and decided to visit her mother, who resides in Gloucester, Virginia. On July 16, 1944, Irene purchased a $5 bus ticket from the colored window at the Hayes, Virginia grocery store. She boarded a Greyhound bus to return to her home in Baltimore and sat in the back of the bus, designated for colored people only. About an hour into the trip, the bus driver confronted Irene and the other person, African-American woman, sitting next to her in the same seat, baby in the arms, and told them they would be required to give up their seat to a white couple. Irene refused, and the bus driver drove to the next town of the route to have her arrested. When they arrived in Saluda, Virginia, and the officers represented and arrested Irene, the officer tried to forcefully remove Irene from the bus, to which she responded by kicking him in the groin. After a struggle with several officers, she was eventually arrested and pleaded guilty to resisting arrest and was required to pay a $100 fine. She refused, Madam President, however, she refused to plead guilty to violating the Jim Crow law. Her case eventually went to the Virginia Supreme Court, who ruled in favor of the Jim Crow transit law. She appealed the ruling, and with the help from the NAACP, was represented by William H. Hastings and Thurgood Marshall. They argued in front of the U.S. Supreme Court that Virginia state law were in violation of the interstate commercial, stating that federal regulation commercial transaction does have not interfered with the state. On June 3rd, 1946, the Supreme Court ruled 6-1 in favor of Irene Morgan. The ruling did not address the constitutionality of segregation. However, it did uphold that state laws could not supersede congressional mandate, forcing the Greyhound bus and other interstate travel companies to institute policies of desegregation. The legal precedence of Irene Morgan versus the Commonwealth of Virginia became one of the cornerstones of a late battle to attack the foundation of racial discrimination in this country. Unfortunately, Irene Morgan's story has been largely forgotten in the public eye, despite being a predecessor to the icon of Rosa Parks. The events surrounding Irene Morgan took place nearly a decade prior to the Montgomery bus boycott. Irene and her husband moved to New York after his death. She won a college scholarship from a radio contest, Madam President. 4 years later, at the age of 68, she would graduate from St. John's University with a bachelor's degree in communication. 5 years later, at the age of 72, she received a master's of degree from urban studies from Queen College. She later received the Presidential Citizen Medal by President Bill Clinton. She passed away at 90 years of age on August 10th, 2007. Madam, thank you so much.
The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Hampton, Senator Locke.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise on a point of personal privilege.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, in 2014, when Governor McCullough first came into office, the administration became aware in the first few weeks that a number of appointments that had been made by Governor McDonnell in his last months of office had never been communicated to the General Assembly by the outgoing Secretary of the Commonwealth. They were overlooked when they put together the paperwork and not included like they should have been. This means that close to 40 people who had been appointed by Governor McDonnell were not going to be eligible to continue serving in their positions. The administration saw an opportunity to put new members on those boards and could easily have done so without an ethical dilemma. It was not their fault, and they had nothing to do with it. However, they decided to do the right thing and honor the appointments made by Governor McDonnell. They reappointed them so that they could be confirmed by the General Assembly and continue serving in the capacities to which they had been appointed. On this past Friday, we learned that amendments that gubernatorial appointments of Governor Northam had been communicated to the House had not been acted upon. Said appointments were due to expire at midnight. That was some 1,000 people. When questioned about it, House leadership indicated that there were no plans to take up the appointments. Eventually they did, yet removed several individuals from the resolutions. I would like to share with you some of those individuals who were removed. Dr. Stuart D. Roberson, who had been listed in Virginia Business of the 2020 Power List and had served for 16 years as Hanover Superintendent from 1995 to 2011, the longest serving superintendent in the metro region. Anthony Swan, who was the 2021 Virginia State Teacher of the Year, who grew up in Danville in the foster care system and decided to become a teacher when he was 11, and his life was touched by one of his teachers. He created a mentoring program for fifth grade boys called Guys with Ties. Every other week, the students dressed to impress and participate in activities to learn the importance of integrity, honesty, and respect. Dr. Jamel Smith Wilson, who also serves as the Dean of the University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. Previously served as Superintendent of Schools in Hanover. They were serving on the Board of Education. From the State Air Pollution Control Board, removed was Joshua Baer, who works as Associate Vice President for Strategic Initiatives and Research Associate Professor at the Virginia Modeling, Analysis, and Simulation Center at ODU. Richard Lankford, who served on the board since 2002 and had been appointed by 5 governors, both Democrat and Republican. From the State Water Control Board, Dr. Jack Lanier was removed, who has a doctorate in public health and VCU Professor Emeritus. From Safety and Health Codes Board, Fernando Franco and Milagro Millie Rodriguez, both Latino Americans. From the Virginia Marine Resources Commission, Christina Everett was removed, the Hampton Roads Director for the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, and Chris Newsom, a former environmentalist specialist for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Madam President, I hope that this is an anomaly. And from this point forward, I hope that both House leadership and the executive branch will live up to its promise of wanting to work together collaboratively for the good of the Commonwealth. Thank you, Madam President.
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. It is a sad day for me, and I hope you will share just a moment of time as I note in this wonderful chamber the passing of a great Virginian, Gilbert Kenneth Davis, a graduate of Cornell College in Iowa born, but Virginia through and through, a graduate of the University of Virginia Law School in 1969, was a trial attorney who practiced law in Fairfax County for so many years. Known to many of us who sit in this very chamber today, either because we practiced law with him, came in contact with him in politics, or he might have helped a family member out, he was always there for his clients, for those that he cared about, for his family, and for me. He took me in when I decided after my father died that I wanted to be a lawyer to fulfill the dream my father had for me, and he gave me a job. And he taught me how to be a great lawyer, but he taught me something more. That we possess as attorneys the ability to change people's lives, to do better and to do better for them. And when they change their lives, they make the difference in the world that changes the world. That's how he lived his life. He could have been a lot wealthier, but he just always wanted to fight for the little guy. I can't tell you how many times we'd be in a diner, and he would hear a sad story that required somebody who needed legal help but probably could not afford it and usually never could afford it. And he would turn and say, "I'll be right back." And he would sit with them. He would talk to them, find out all about them, care about them. And then he'd come back and sit down and say, "We've got a new client." And I would say, "How much are they paying?" And he would say, "That doesn't really matter." And then he would make me pay for the breakfast. That was the type of guy Gil Davis was. A big, giant heart, a brilliant, brilliant attorney, a mentor to me in a time when I'd lost my father, when I needed such guidance. I owe everything to him in terms of who I am as a lawyer today. He got me into politics. You may remember he ran for Attorney General many years ago as a Republican candidate, losing in a primary, but still was willing to have the courage, as you all have had, to step out because he wanted to help his beloved Commonwealth of Virginia. That's the type of guy that Gil Davis was. You know, we even took that case that he's so famous for that's taught in every law school now, wherein he won a 9-0 United States Supreme Court victory that stands for the proposition that all democracy is based upon, that no man or woman, no matter their station in life, even if they're president of the United States, is above the law. That is a cornerstone of freedom and liberty, and he fought for that. He did it for no compensation, but he did it because it was the right thing to do, and that's what guided Gil Davis's life, as long as it was the right thing to do. I will miss him every day, but I know that he resides in me when I speak. I know that I think in ways as a lawyer that he taught me, and that as long as I'm here on this good earth, as he was, I will always fight for the little guy. It may not make you rich in your bank account, as he used to say, but it enriches your heart to no end. And Madam President, if the President Pro Tem would indulge me, I ask that today, that when we adjourn in the memory and in honor of Gilbert Kenneth Davis, a great Virginian. Thank you, Madam President.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Hearing none, the clerk will now report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Wednesday, February 16th, the Committee on General Laws and Technology will meet half an hour after adjournment, Senate Room 3 in the Capitol. The Committee on the Judiciary will meet 1/2 hour after adjournment, Senate Room A, Pocahontas. The Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Transportation will have a work group meeting at 4 in Subcommittee Room 1, 5th floor, Pocahontas. Senators Barker, Saslaw, Hanger, Newman, Deeds, Marsden, and McClellan. Tomorrow, Thursday, February 17th, the Hampton Roads Caucus will meet virtually at 7:30 a.m. The Committee on Education and Health will meet at 8 o'clock a.m., Senate Room A, Pocahontas. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11 a.m., Senate Room 1 in the Capitol. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m., Senate Room 2 in the Capitol.
The chair now calls on the gentlelady from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow, and in so doing, we do so in honor of Gilbert Kenneth Davis.
The question is, shall the Senate adjourn until noon tomorrow? All in favor of the motion to adjourn in the memory of Gilbert Kenneth Davis will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.